How's it going?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I know it's been a while. Life changed drastically. Time goes by fast too.
Right?
Okay. So yeah, we're gonna just dive right in. So like, how are you doing?
Great, great. Everything's doing well, since the show. I'm a lawyer now, as you can see. I got all the books behind me. So how's everything with you?
Things are going great for me. It's been a hard ever since I felt like the pandemic and a little bit before that's been hard on all of us. But just trying to stay strong. All
Yeah.
we can do is just keep going. Um, but yeah, how was the casting process like for Love Games? And did you watch Bad Girls Club or hear anything about it before? Or
Um, I knew about Bad Girls Club, of course. It was a very popular show. But what's interesting about the casting process is well, one fun fact is that wasn't my first, Love Games wasn't my first time being on TV actually. My first time being on television, I was recruited. I think it was still by Bun and Murray, the same production company that did um, Love Games. I'm actually not quite sure, but I was in Santa Monica in 2007, and they approached me when I was on a Third and Promenade by all the shops, and two people with cameras, and they said, uh, they said you just had cameras. They're like, hey, can we just do a quick interview with you? And they asked me some questions, and I ended up being on a show called Exposed on MTV. There used to be the show called Next. Remember, you get off the bus and they go Next. It was like that, but this was the same company that made Next made this show called what's it called? Exposed, and you had voice detection software. And so I was on one of those 15-minute dating shows back then, 2007. So when they were recruiting for Real World 26 in Real World 26, San Diego, and must have been 2011. They were recruiting right by my house in Gainesville, and everyone knew that I was, previously on TV, and they're like, "Oh, you'd be perfect for it." And I was on my way to work, and I saw the line was like down the street, people auditioning, and I was actually tried to get out of the line, and the producer stopped me, and they took me to the front because I was late for work, and did like a quick just they sat me down, asked me a few questions, and went to work. I worked at a casino at the time in Ocala, Florida. It was the middle of nowhere. Um, and I got a call saying that they wanted me to come do a one-on-one interview at a hotel. In the hotel, they had a green screen set up. And like a lot of the guys on campus from the different fraternities, they were all like kind of like word was getting around who made it past the first audition. And after that, they invited me to the semifinals in Tampa. Um, to be honest with you, I think, that one was more. I had to travel from Gainesville to Tampa for that. I don't really remember that one. So I think I drank before it because I was nervous. Uh, just a little, nothing crazy. I was in full form. And then it was after that that they asked me to do, because everyone always wants to know, do you do an audition tape, right? Do you make an audition tape and send it in? Like, like people imagine that that's what you just do. No, like they ask you to do that after you're past like the semifinals, right? And so, they made me do that right before the final round. So I actually was made it to the final round of casting for Real World 26. And in the papers, they asked me if I've ever been on TV before. And I thought it was an unfair question because I never agreed to blackball myself from any reality TV by doing the show in 2007, right? And at the time, it had been 5 years. It was a 15-minute dating show. I'm like, who's going to dig that up? Because I think the only person who has a copy of that is my mom on like a VHS. Like it's I don't think you can find that anywhere. And I really think my mom might be the only one who has it, because I've never found it online. Um and I don't even know where, because it was summer of 2007 it aired. And somehow they figured it out, and I got to meet. I know Bunham Murray, one of them's dead. Um, you know, so I met the one who was still alive at the time. And I actually finished the final round of casting before all this happened. So I think I was gonna get selected, but that was like a disqualifier. They don't want to have it look like you're recycling talent, which I didn't know. But I was also like, well, that sucks, because I was going to be on Real World. right? San Diego, which honestly would have been a whole could have would have messed up my legal career, I think. Not messed it up for like, you know, embarrassing myself, but more like, you see those guys who do um the uh who go on Real World. You see them doing the reboots, the challenges, and all that stuff. You see that, and you wonder why they're still on TV. Well, it's because they have to, because when you go on MTV, they have the right to bring you back, right?
Yeah,
Uh, you know, Going on Love Games, it's more like,
a
you know,
thing, but like,
one and done, and yeah, it's just like, when you go on Love Games or like something like that, you're not guaranteed anything. You're not even guaranteed to make it past the first episode. Which, if you remember, season three, I was actually up for elimination before we even made it to the house, and I was like, "Wow, this is going to be like the most embarrassing thing ever to go on TV." And I think it was like an ab contest, which is not my forte, right? And I was like, "Great, I'm going to get eliminated for not having a six pack before I even get to the house on the first episode." You
yeah.
know,
But luckily,
so
thanks to looks, she was just like, she had to choose you for Sydney or something. I think Kori said she had to choose you for Sydney, and then she chose Edson for Judi. So that makes sense. Okay.
yeah. And it was funny because Judi was airing at the time of filming. So like I know Judi was really popular. And I'm actually closest with Judi, which is funny because on the show it was we weren't that close. But Judi and she still made a whole career out of it, you know, which is rare. And I talked to her regularly. I actually texted her Happy New Year. Um and I actually would I've hung out with Judi several times when I was visiting New York because that's where my sister lived. Yeah, so I'm pretty like out of everybody from season three, I don't talk to Kori anymore. After the show, I actually lives with her, believe it or not. um, I flew out to Arizona and stayed with her for about a month, maybe more. Which we really weren't supposed to do because you're not because the show hadn't aired yet. But if a former playmate asks you to come out to Arizona, you don't have a choice, right?
Yeah. Sure. So I think the nickname they gave you, I'm bad at recapping, but the nickname they gave you, I think, was the Preppy. I don't know if it was for
No, the
Taylor or you.
funny guy was the first time, and
Yeah,
then the comeback kid.
I feel like that's why they bring you and Taylor back. Like, yeah, I had similarities, but yeah, both for like, I feel like y'all both for the stars of your season in a way. Like, I mean,
Taylor was funny, man. He's a funny kid, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, him and Ben's were the stars of their season, I believe, and then for your season, it was Matt, John Marshall, and then you.
And I'm still close with John Marshall. I still talk to John. I talk to John and Judi. John actually has his own radio show. He's syndicated now in Atlanta. He actually invited me to be on it, and eventually I plan on doing that. But I have to go, in person. He's actually sponsored last time I talked to him, which ironically was I, did a FaceTime with him and Judi on New Year's Eve last year, and John had just gotten syndicated in Atlanta on the radio, and he told me he was one of his sponsors. I can probably look it up right now. One of his sponsors was like Dunkin' Donuts. I was like, wow, you know, it's pretty impressive, but yeah, he's doing really well. So I still talk to him, and then I still talk to Nick from Hawaii. Um,
Other Nick, yeah, the one that made it like pretty far.
yeah, I'm still close with him. He hung out. I talked to him today, and I still talk to Edson. I don't talk to Sydney. And, Kori and I honestly, I think she like followed me on, or I followed her on social media, but like I haven't talked to her since I left because it didn't, she ended up getting back with her ex, and it was like drama, So, I still only good feelings towards her. We had fun time on the show, but it was things got, you know, things were burned hot with her when they were hot, and then they flamed out quick. You know what I mean? Uh, there was also like, you know, she had asked me if I would go back on TV again, which I didn't know they were going to bring me back. Um, and I was like, yeah, yeah, I was open to it. And it looks like, she was ready to move on at the time. I think she was older than me. I can't remember because I was 24 at the time. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Um, what would you say is like out of all the challenges on Love Games 3, what was your favorite challenge? Like I think there was a challenge where it was that challenge where Sydney like kind of was. We already know how Sydney was. I love her, but yeah, that challenge where the exes were brought back and stuff
Oh
like.
God, when they brought my ex girlfriend back, that wasn't my really. It wasn't all right. So hey, I love Alex. Alex. That was Alex, my friend. She's great, and she did me. And we did have a thing back in Gainesville. But my real like actual ex who I dated for a while, like they didn't. It would have been bad if they brought her. But Alex is. She brought me back. She came out for me. Like, thank God, and because she and I were cool, we're cool after. We had like a brief fling, and she's got a great personality. She would have been great for TV, So she came out for me that season, and then one of her friends did for season 4. Because if they somehow convinced my real ex to come out, yeah, you would have had a whole spin-off show probably. But yeah, I don't know what they would have done, but because like basically what happened is my ex at the time I was dating for two, we broke up and then we got back together while I was going through the rounds of casting for the show, right? And hadn't made a decision for sure to go on to Love Games, but they still wanted to fly me out for the finals, right? And so I told her that I didn't make it onto Real World, right? And then I didn't say the rest, that I was going to fly out for the finals for Love Games just to see. Because half of me was suspicious that she only got back with me because of the TV, you know what I mean? Or because of that, you know what I mean? Because it'd been a year. And so wanted to see if things changed. Well, I never got to like she found out because we worked together and, immediately, broke up. And then I was like, all right, looks like I'm doing Love Games. So yeah, that would have been nice for TV if they'd managed to get her to come out because I'm sure she would have, I don't know what she would have done, but, things like had just ended right before filming. So yeah, Alex came out. That was great. I was happy to see Alex when she came out because I thought it was really going to be my ex, like my ex.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so yeah, when you made it to the finale, you did make it to the finale of season 3. Like I noticed that with both seasons, like you play the
Said
game.
it was rigged. I'm kidding. It's not rigged. But you know what happened was Kori, like, you know, Kori was kind of over it. You know what I mean? Like she just literally the problem was is Sydney already picked John, right? She's like, I'm going with John the whole way. And obviously, if you do that, the whole game, the whole point of the show is you have to keep more than one girl interested in you, and the girls have to keep more than one guy, right? And they vote us down to 6, and we vote them off. So if you go, I like this person, the other people are going to vote you off, right? The problem is that the weird thing is that I got Nick from Hawaii to agree that Corey likes me. He knew that and he just wanted as much airtime as possible, which I was like, great, so we'll keep you on, you keep Corey on, right? And yeah, Corey voted him off. And I was pissed. And then she was like, well, I found what I'm coming for. I'm done with the show, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And so, you know, John was the swing vote. You know what I mean? And he chose, uh, which is weird because he was with Sydney the whole time. You know what I mean? So, I don't think there really was a way for me to win at the end. But honestly, Judy's got great personality, and she played the game the best. That season, 100%. You know,
Yeah, yeah. So I know that like from me watching the show, like you're still in touch with Edson, of course, but I could tell that y'all really had like a good bond. Like he really like liked you. Like it was like
too.
you was his funny brother almost. And I remember y'all had that cake fight. Like when y'all had the cake fight, like how did you feel? Like were you like, wow, like this is really cool? Or
With what? With Edson?
yeah, like the cake fight. Like you know
Oh,
how like yeah,
Edson. Yeah, I had a cake fight with Edson. Did I? I forget.
yeah, I think stuff in like some of his face, but I think it was
Oh
definitely
yeah.
cake or whatever.
Well, Edson and I were funny. We were both, if there's anybody who could burn people with their words, it's definitely Edson and I. But we get along great. Like Edson is the only, other like I said, like Judy, Edson, Nick. Um, I still, I recently reconnected with Casey. But yeah, Edson is like one of the few people, and John, or few people I've seen in person since the show. And like I know what they're doing. That's what.
Jordan from your season. I think you said yeah.
No, not
Well, Jordan.
Jordan. Oh, Jordan. No, 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 not Jordan. Diablito.
Oh,
I
that's
ran into him one time down here, but I don't know what's going on with him. I don't. I, he was from down here, but no, I don't. not Gia Pluto. I don't know.
Yeah. Out of the three girls on Love Game Street, who would you say you felt an attraction to? Well, of course Kori, but like before y'all got serious, like who would you say you thought you was gonna be with, or you know?
Before, okay, so well, right away, well, actually, the first time that they showed up was, I think that Kori and Judi, no, Kori and Sydney got in a fight before I even met Kori. Like, I'm pretty sure, like the first halfway through the first episode. But the person, Kori, I was obviously most attracted to. Judi and I definitely liked her personality, and like Sydney and I were like friend zone right away. You could just tell. You know what I mean? But um, Judi, I wasn't sure what to make of Judi and I have big personalities. Um, so it wasn't like Judi and I definitely started like really getting close, like friends, after the show, I would say. And uh, definitely, well, Kori I knew is who I was most interested in from the start, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do any fans ever notice you in person nowadays, or nobody really?
Nowadays,
Yeah.
no, I mean, dude, I can't even walk outside. No, I'm kidding. The good thing is I went by Joey of my whole life up until TV. And when you go to apply for your law license, that's considered like an alias. So, and I had a professor tell me I should start going by Joseph. So people don't, I still do get recognized. I think last time I had to sign an autograph was when I got my teeth cleaned, like the lady who checked me in recognized me and like printed out the Love Games logo and asked me to sign a piece of paper. It was way more. Uh, it was really crazy when it was airing, especially season 4. I would say couldn't go anywhere. Couldn't go to. I remember I went to the mall when I was in law school. I got followed back to my car. I was in New York visiting my sister, and people would. One person was really smart. They didn't just come up to me. They from across the street. They just said, "Hey Joey," right? And then I turn, and then they're like, "Oh my God, it's him!" And then they run over. You don't really know what they want. I had people try to secretly film me when I was out. That was like, whoa. And luckily I stopped that. But these days, it's people will recognize me, but sometimes they're unsure, and they kind of just throw out a feeler, see, but it's nowhere near like it was when it was airing. I mean, I think we hit over 1 million viewers the last episode of season 4, the finale. So after that, well, you know what? It was funny. You know what was really when it really got bad was because we filmed summer of 2011 or no 2012, and I started law school the next month. So there was an episode of Joel McHale on The Soup. He used to make fun of everybody, and he cropped up a the episode where we had to melt the block of ice with our bodies. Remember that,
Yeah.
to get to the necklace?
Oh, that was on
So I
the Ice Channel
see.
where you got.
Yeah, the ice challenge, right? So
Remember?
Danny decided, and his plan worked, was to just pick a spot on the ice cube and blow into it, right? And like focus all your heat towards this one little spot. But he was using his mouth and blowing on the ice, right? And then I was on a team with Camilla and Casey, and I had seen an old episode of Road Rules where they had a similar challenge, and so that's why I used Casey's body as a saw. But Camilla was like, "Oh, I'm gonna rub my butt on the ice, right?" And so she rubs her butt on the ice, and then Joel McHale takes the picture of her rubbing her butt on the ice. Uh, then Danny licking the ice, and then me saying something completely out of context to make it look like I was licking butt ice. And he did, put that on the soup. And then that's, people back then were watching the soup. They were Tosh Point oh and the soup were big. And so when I came to law school the next day, people were like, yeah, I remember the guy at the snack bars, like, FYI, everyone knows who you are now. And that was the craziest because you know, that was a lot. But luckily I got to have the taste of it and then kind of without it like being permanent, really, you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't do anything embarrassing or, that could, you know, jeopardize my, ability to move on and be a lawyer.
Yeah, and I think you played the game very well. Like you knew how to play love games, and even though you don't win Love Games 3, I feel like you still won it in a way because you and Kori did have something after and stuff
See,
like
I
that.
like that. So I won both, right? I like that. That's a great view on the thing.
Yeah. And you made it, both to both finales. So I kind of feel like that was like
Yeah.
a um And I do feel like some fans felt some way about that, which is like crazy to me because it's like you did what you had to do, so it's kind of like that's just how they are. But
Yeah,
um, out of all the guys in the house, what guy would you say you felt like you didn't get along with the most if you had to choose?
I
Like
had to
from both,
choose.
yeah.
Okay, out of all the guys in the house, uh, that's a good one. Who did not? Oh yeah, there was that guy, Pasquale, the muscle guy. Pasquale was bad. Um, Danny from season 4, who I had to, where I revealed he had a girlfriend or whatever. I accused him of having one. He, unfortunately, he hated me after that, right? Um, and so that was, I mean, I didn't have any personal beef towards him, but,
Yeah, you were just playing the game.
yeah, and he was real mad, about that, um, like, but yeah, he was very mad. But, it was, yes, I guess I mean, I don't know. I don't have any hard feelings towards anybody. I'm not a hater. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like I never hated on anybody. I respect everybody's whatever they want to do. And if somebody doesn't like me, that's their problem. You know what I mean? So the people who actually didn't get along with was probably people who refused to be normal. Like I guess it would be Pasquale, who was always, kind of got the short man syndrome going on, flexing and everything. And and I never understood that because if I was not as tall as I am, I don't know why you'd want to get wider, but whatever. And he was always just aggressive, you know what I mean? So it's like it was impossible to get along with. But some guys played the game like that, you know what I mean? Me, it was you know, uh, I think I played it the right way. And you know who else played it the right way was Amy. You know, Judy just joined. Look at that.
Yeah, that was dope. I love her. So,
No, Judy's the
you
best.
know, yeah, for sure. Like I like that she's supportive, humble.
No, she's
I always
super
thought
humble.
that was
Judy's the
dope.
most humble. I think Judy met my sister when we were in New York, and Judy's the best. Judy Edson and all them.
Yeah. So what season would you say you enjoyed better, season 3 or 4?
Um, um, hmm, season 3 or 4. You know what's funny is I'm closer to people from season 3 than 4. Now that I think about it, um, did I enjoy more? I mean, season 4, winning is the most fun thing in the world. So winning is the best. So obviously, I enjoyed season 4. What I didn't enjoy is that I had to get a tattoo on season 4. you know, I don't know if you remember that. I got Amy's name on me. I finally covered that up a few years ago. I actually turned it into a UFO. Uh, because it was kind of shaped like one anyway. Um, but yeah, Amy played it the best. She was great to partner up with. But in terms of like people, like if I could hang out with people right now, I'd hang out with people from season 3 only because that's who I'm the closest with. And I think Taylor's, he's all about the family life now. Um, and you know, I gotta say the season 3 people are a little more alive. You know what I mean? We're a little more, Edson, Judy, John, Nick. I definitely that's who I would hang out with now. And that's who I still talk to. But I haven't really talked to Shane. I think he's busy. He's doing his thing. But, yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. Um, so like the finales, like season 3 finale comes, and it was like a long finale, I would say. But
Which
you
one? The
know,
season 3?
yeah, the season 3. I feel like season 3 was longer than season 4.
I
Um,
think, yeah, might
but
be
what would
one episode.
yeah,
Yeah.
what would you say? What was your favorite part of the finale, if you had to say?
The finale.
Yeah.
My favorite 2 episodes on season 3 was when we, did the jewelry where I got to buy the jewelry for Kori. I like that a lot because that's when I finally got through to her. But I think it was second to last episode, or maybe that might have been part of the season finale. And then my other favorite thing was when Natalie came, and then Kori had to get my initials tattooed on her. That was fun, or my name tattooed on her. Um, that was fun. Uh, you know, it was good when it was good. It was good once I got past that like you know point where I was essentially safe. I knew because I knew Kori was like we had that pact, and so that was like the best. Like right around, I would say it was right around the jewelry episode. That's where I really like outshined everybody else, and locked myself in with Kori to make it there. And you knew Judi was going to go all the way the whole time. Sydney was kind of checked out, you know what I mean? She had found in her head what she was looking for, and she kind of checked out. Corey was more of a competitor, and Judy had the whole package in terms of personality, appeal, and she had multiple guys that, coming after her, so she played the game in season three the best, hands down, you know? You there? Can't hear you. Mm. Yeah, I can not hear you right now. Let me see.
Okay, I'm good now. My bad. I had myself mute.
Okay.
All right. Now, um, but yeah, I love your answers, and I really appreciate you for doing this. So we're
Yeah.
gonna ask a few more questions about season three, and then we're gonna go to season four, and then we're gonna start with life after, and then we'll be wrapped up.
All right.
Um, so for season three, I'm trying to think of my question. So, you know, did you like they have message boards, right, for love games? Yeah, they did, right? I remember, I think.
I don't know. I don't remember. I mean, I never got on a message board really, I don't think.
But yeah, what were like? Did your family ever watch you on love games, and what were their reactions to you? Like,
Well, my great grandma watched my MTV episode. She like died shortly after. No, like she was not a fan of it. No, I think she died naturally. She's old. My grandma actually was totally open to it. My grandma worked for the National Enquirer, so she was, not like wild, but she was not shy or to media, and she was actually kept up with things. She used to, do all the photograph, before I guess Photoshop and everything we have now. She would edit the photos for the National Enquirer and the Sun, and she was, so she was open to it. My mom's more conservative. My mom's like the opposite of me. My mom's a nice lady who got married to my dad like right out of college, and not sheltered, but she was okay with it. I don't know if she ever really watched every episode. My family and friends back at school, I was, when I came back to Gainesville, we would have viewing parties and everyone was all about it. I did, I hosted like a block party. I think there's still a YouTube of that somewhere in Gainesville. It was great, but you know what? What my grandma was most worried about at the time, she was like, "All right, you don't want to get carried away with this. Come home." She was sick, so I came back to take care of my grandma because she had cancer, and she, her one wish was for me to go to law school and not, let this whole TV thing, you know, mm, you know, not for me to have like any, it's for me to get, focused on the future, and not just give up everything for TV per se. You know what I mean? So that's what I did, and that's when I started law school. So it was weird going to law school when the show was airing. Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah,
yeah, I feel you.
it was very.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Um, yeah, so sorry for your loss. So sorry you had to go through that.
No,
But
it's
yeah,
fun. Well,
for like season three, like I think I remember you sent that in a love game chat. Season three is like the season with the most. I think I don't know what season it was, either season three or season four, but you know, me and Judy both agree on this. Like, and even the fans, like season three is the most talked about love game season. You know,
yeah,
they solely watch for Judy. I mean, so that
yeah.
makes
No,
sense.
Judy was super popular, and and
I,
season four. Amy played the game right and well, but like she kind of, I don't, Judy just has she's fun. I don't know. We're just more like season three's more live. I mean, we're just like good entertainment. Everybody on that show's a great cast. You know what I mean? Um, season four was great too, and you know, some of the events like the fight in the club, where Danny attacked me. So it was still great. And I think we had the viewers were even up then, but you know, out of the girls, yeah, I mean, Judy's definitely the most entertaining. You know what I mean? And season three is probably got the biggest personalities.
yeah, for sure. What would you say? Do you have any regrets? And also, what would you say is your least favorite moment from the season three, if you had to say it?
From season three, my least favorite
Yeah,
moment was
yeah,
when
and any
Judy
regrets from it as well.
When Judy slapped me. I remember that, right? She slapped me. Yeah. Um, but that was like, I guess, she did that to me. She slapped me. And I'm still not mad about that at all. Um, and then what's you said my biggest regret, and then what else?
Yeah, just the biggest regret.
I don't Listen, I mean, I was careful. I knew that I wanted to be a lawyer, and I knew, so I was very careful about, I mean, I was myself. I mean, you can't escape the fact that you literally, people don't even realize they take your phone away and you're locked in that house with a microphone on you and cameras everywhere for like, 6 weeks straight if you go all the way, like maybe 4 to 6 weeks straight. I did that twice in a year. So when people think that you're weird for going on TV, I'm like, give me your phone. I'll lock you in a house for a month in Airbnb and let's film everything about you. Take everything away. There's no booze. If you have any secret habits, that would show up and you'd be kicked off. Like you don't have anything. Like people think they just like ply us with alcohol and we all go crazy. No, no, no. It's psychological and that's really smart. So you have like eliminations. I would say it's like sleep deprivation, because there's no doors and you start filming like right in the morning and then you go till like midnight the next night. Um, and then there's the psychological threat of not being able to trust anybody, eliminations. So you're filming like all day, and you can't talk to anyone unless you're stupid and you make a call on the house phone, which will be on TV. Um, and I think most people couldn't handle that. I think 99.9% of people have at least something, some sort of closet thing or whatever, where they could not give up their life, walk into a house and be totally inside and outside exposed to the world, and hold it together. And so when people like think I'm weird for going on TV, I'm like, you should really put that in perspective. Actually, I'm very normal and you know it, and I've been filmed. There's footage to prove it. And so is a lot of the people who also were on TV. So you got to put things in perspective like that. So I didn't have any regrets. I mean, you got to see everything about me. I mean, God knows how much footage there still is. I mean, they had at least six cameramen plus every camera in the house. When I was cleaning up in my room before I left the house, I had a shoe under the table in between me and Taylor's bed. There's a freaking microphone right there just in case we tried to talk when I was at night. I mean, there was no door on the bathroom in season four. You know that? So
Yeah,
yeah, you were completely exposed.
I remember because Michael gave me the tea. Michael from your season of Love Games. Buna Murray, after they didn't allow locked doors, like meaning they didn't want people to lock the doors. And remember
No
that instant,
doors.
that situation, you and Freaky John P. Freaky John P's another story, but you and Freaky John P. Yeah, kind of were eavesdropping on Chris and Michael, and a lot of fans thought that there was something going on between them, and then you quickly evacuated that, that environment because you even said that you're here for the woman, not penis, and
Yeah,
they went in the
yeah. I
bathroom, but
mean, hey,
Michael had
everybody.
locked the
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, here's the thing. It's like whatever you do, like that's your thing, but you got to be open about it. So it's like, we were there to compete for the girls. And, I don't know exactly. I know the producers told us, something happened, but you have two of the guys were not here for the girls. I got no shade towards Chris or I forget who he was with. Who was the other guy? You
Michael.
know,
I left. Yeah.
Michael, yeah, Michael left her early. Yeah, yeah, he was gone early. And Chris was the one, like, in the room with me, and we were cool. He was with me and Nick and them, but yeah, whatever you're into, you're into. You know what I mean? But you got to be open about it because like it's you're here competing for the women. You got to be,
Agree. And then it's kind of
yeah.
like, if you're really like gay or bisexual, then why would you know, go on the
Well,
show and
yeah.
then
Yeah,
like
but
a
I
waste
think
of
that's
opportunity.
happened. I think that's happened on The Bachelor too, and like people try to do because some people just want the exposure. They just want to be on TV,
Yeah.
so they'll pretend, whatever.
Yeah,
But
and I can't really say it's like fully their fault because producers need to start doing like more background checks. Like
yeah.
back in the day,
Well,
just with just casting.
back then we didn't have, well, we did have social media, but you gotta remember MySpace was 2004, 2005. Facebook was just started 2006, got getting big. And so when I was filming the first season around 2011, like I don't even think they managed or required. They forced us to have Twitter for the season 4, I remember, but I don't. And then they kind of like set out guidelines of what we were allowed to talk about. But it was brand new back then. I mean, Twitter, like even the app. When the season finale was airing, you used to get like notifications, and I mean, I was getting so many that I couldn't even unlock my phone. The app was so like but back then it was so new. I feel like getting digging on people back then was more difficult than now. You know what I mean? But to do all that. But then again, I mean, you're right. They do have to kind of figure this out in the casting. It should have come out in casting. When they talk to your family, they know they reached out to people I know before they brought me
Yeah,
on TV. They did. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, you touched on a good amount of things on Love Games 3. Wait, was there any unseen moments that we didn't see, like from Love Games 3 before we dive into season 4? Like anything, any altercations we didn't see, any like.
Yeah, you're right. We should have like a bonus episode, right? They should just dump all the good footage. There's a lot of stuff that didn't get aired. I mean, you got to
Yeah,
realize, like, I'm talking 24 hours, 7 days a week, and there's so much stuff for them to go through. But they have they kind of got to go with where the storyline is, and even though there's 9 episodes, an hour long each, you know, it's only a fraction, that gets showed, like a little bit. I mean, think about that. I mean, I got to see the production side of it in season 4, um, and I got to see like where they're actually staged, like and everything. It's like a whole world. I mean, they got the monitors of people listening to this, and it's like at least 30 people, in the production team at any given time. You know, it's like that movie with Jim Carrey. What's it called? Uh, I'm talking about where he's like in a little fake world. What's it called?
yeah,
Oh, I got Jim Carrey. Oh God, what's that called? It's gonna bother me. So, you think we should have is it called the Truman Show? That
I
was it.
believe so.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was a great. Yeah, the Truman Show. Sorry, there we go. So it's like that. You have all those people managing your little fake world. Um, but people ask, is it real or is it fake? And again, my answer to that is, well, how often are you going to have your phone taken from you and be locked in a house where you're not in control? You know what I mean?
yeah,
So is it real? Yeah, everything was real, like all of our reactions to things, but you're in a completely manipulated environment and you're completely cut off from the outside. Like I remember the Heat won the championship that year. I'm not a basketball crazy person, but at the same time, I had no idea until I got out of the show, you know? And you get no info from the outside. They get your groceries. Only a few times did we go out in public. And like the night we went to the club on season 4, where Danny attacked me in the club. I mean, there's a reason that we don't do that is because literally it's just a liability. So when we were filming on the walk, what's it called, the Walk of Fame, where they have all the handprints in California, uh, and we went to that one club. I mean, just getting to the club with a camera crew was insane because people don't care what show you're on. They just want to be on the show with you, and they're just trying to do things or antagonize or whatever. And when that fight broke out, our production team was able to handle Danny, but there was like a bouncer in the club because I was involved in it. My production team didn't see it. And he put me in a headlock, and he
oh,
was taller than me, and he pulled back, and I was like, whoa, uh, and I was like, dude, it's TV, relax. You know what I mean? If it wasn't fake, but at the same time, I'm like, we're leaving. You know what I mean? So it's like there was a lot of liability
yeah,
with that. You know what I mean? So that's why they film in a
yeah,
controlled environment.
yeah. I've not really. What's crazy is I did rewatch your seasons, like season 3 and 4, but I didn't like see. I think I skimmed through the clips of you and Danny fighting. Like I have not really seen that fight in like
Season
a
5,
while.
I think it was episode 5. It was the
Okay.
Up in the Fight Club or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. But like y'all had like 2 rounds, I think. Like y'all had 2 rounds like Shane and Taylor
And
as well.
Shane and Taylor, what was funny is you know, at the end of the day, you got to remember it's TV, and so you got to like stir the pot a little to make good TV,
Yeah.
right? And so that episode, like, that's what Taylor and I agreed to do with each other. And Taylor wasn't on the date, but I told him to be ready to stir the pot because I knew Shane was gonna be lit when he came back because we're going to a club. And Shane also was easy. Shane was great with Taylor because Shane, even though he knew that Taylor was trolling him all the time, is he couldn't handle
Yeah,
it. He couldn't handle the
yeah,
trolling, and Taylor was really good at getting under his skin.
yeah, for sure. How do you? A question that me and BGC obsessed want to know is like, how do you feel about how are you happy to see how far Camilla has come? Because Camilla was we're gonna dive into season 4 now, but Camilla was on your season and stuff like that. Like we want to know, have you seen her on Baddies and stuff like that, or like seen clips of it? Also, how did you feel about the altercation with her and Taylor? And was there anything that wasn't shown? And was the blood like real or?
Um, oh, the whole when she punched him. Well, dude, Taylor deserved it. There's no doubt, and he antagonized it. Um, with Camilla, again. So she's made a career out of this one. I don't know how the twins are doing really, but I mean, Camilla was a star, and Camilla was like the first girl I connected with on season 4, really. And there was actually like in season 3, I was set with Kori, pretty much set on that from the get go. um, but with season 4, it was, Camila. Honestly, I think it wasn't until halfway through that I, pivoted over to Amy and she pivoted over to like Tyrone. But I'm like, I'm happy for her. She's found success with it. I mean, that's really hard to do. Um, uh, she's got a lot of like almost what like 1 million followers. I'm on her Instagram right now. So she's been able to make a career out of it, and so is Judi, and that's great. Me, I had to be realistic. I was just a contestant, and you know, could I have tried to do more? I mean, possibly, but you gotta snag that law degree when you're young. I mean, that's brutal. Would I go on TV again? Sure, but I'm really happy for her, and the whole thing with Taylor is he deserved it. I told him to stir the pot, and Danny was all mad trying to come at me when we got back, and then I think like Taylor was kind of mad that he wasn't able to steal Danny, the girl, the twin Danny, from Shane. And then Camille wasn't that interested in him either. And so Taylor was trying to stir the pot with me, So then when he said that thing, like, why didn't you take me on the date with you? He asked for it. I mean, he bought that ticket. You know what I mean? Was the blood real? I don't know. I didn't taste it. But I felt bad for him because I told him to, I think he had a little too much to drink and stirred the pot a little too hard. And but he bought that ticket because we should have gone. It was like time to go to bed at that point, and he was still going. And he told her to like try on his bow tie or whatever the hell his She called it a costume, and that was the thing about Taylor is he's actually really different in real life. Uh, he's different in real life. A little more toned down. He was kind of a troll back then. I think he was a troll on YouTube back then, but I know now he's more of a family man. And he was a good troller, man. He knew how to get under people's skin, and he knew what he was doing. He bought that ticket, and Camila, gave him what he paid for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
It's he kind of deserved it.
So yeah, yes, this but yeah. Season 4, you're come back on season 4. Like, what was your first thoughts when the producers wanted you to come back for season 4? You was like, wow, like,
You know
okay,
what's
I'm
funny is
down.
actually, that they were really smart because they actually make sure that I didn't like, I don't know, go, lock myself into doing something else. They actually, believe it or not, I actually, all right. So I moved out with Kori. I lived with Kori after the show, and Kori was gorgeous, was great. And then things just went south really quickly with her. Once she decides she want to get back with her ex, I think she's still back with him, and I think they have a kid now. And I'm happy for her, whatever. But like I said, we burned hot and then we burned out really quickly. And for me and my friends back home, I was like, sweet, I found a girl, the former playmate, Playboy Bunny. This is fun, But then I actually wanted to do some stand-up comedy, and one of the producers from Bun and Murray that I'm still close with, I actually flew out there and lived with her, and I would go to the open mic nights and film myself doing stand up, and it was a lot of fun. And when you film yourself doing stand up, you can go back and watch and see what was a bust and what was not funny. And you go to like the free mic nights, if you get good, they'll start, inviting you back or whatever, but that's how you climb your way up. And then I actually recruited for season 4. They had me doing casting, right? Knowing probably, I'm assuming they had to have known they were going to bring me back, right? So I'm sitting there casting, and I don't think I, you know, really got to know or casted anyone. The only person I saw or looked over was like, Dre. I think I saw his stuff before.
Oh yeah, Dre was
And
on Tool Academy. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and I
just
knew he was
like how
auditioning.
Matt was on College Show. Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah. So that kind of yeah, that's funny. And and fun fact, by the way, is I missed my flight for season three, and I had to I missed the flight for season three filming, and I was supposed to fly out of Orlando, so they had to rebook me, and they flew me to Philly, and I actually was seated next to Freaky John P on the airplane because you're not supposed to meet the cast, you're not supposed to meet each other, and I remember Freaky John was this guy next to me. I'm like, who's this guy? And and I was looking at him, and he's reading a book. I think it was like something about Machiavelli. I don't know. He can correct me on that. He was reading some book to like, about like, I don't know, like how to kill people. Not how to kill people, but how to like come out on top. Some sort of like something like obviously to get his mind right for the show, right? And then it was funny that he ended up being on the show, and like the producers were like, who the hell like got you seated next to him on the same flight? Because it's supposed to be they all fly us out blind. So back to season four is I had no idea I was going to be on it, right? Um, and they literally called me 2 days, I think. They had already started filming, so season four, and they're like, we're bringing you back, as a surprise, contestant. So they had already been living in the house when I showed up, and so that's when you had me walk out. And right then everyone was kind of scared of us, not scared physically, but they thought we were like double agent, Taylor and I. So like that's probably why the reason I'm not as close with anyone on season four is because they thought we were Taylor and I were like bots for the producers to manipulate the show,
Yeah,
rather than just contestants. You know what I mean? And so there
and then
wasn't.
yeah, and I thought the creative thing about season four too is they had an exes challenge too. So they brought
Yeah, they
yeah.
brought
How
another one
did
of
you
my
feel?
friends.
One of your friends. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like people get so manipulated by editing because a lot of people thought that that was really a girlfriend when it
Well,
wasn't.
I know they tried. I know they tried to get my ex, but
Yeah, but some
if they
people
wouldn't be.
might not want to do it.
Well, some people might not want to do it. They're still mad. Um, and by that time, my ex would have been Kori, I guess, most recently, right? But it was also another sorority sister of the girl who was on season three. They brought her, and you know, so it was good. I'm glad that I had girls of friends that were willing to step in and do that for me because Taylor's real ex came, and that was a problem. You know what I mean, for him. That was bad. I remember that because it was I think they were still together. I don't know. I don't know if they're still together now, but I know it was like I don't know if she knew the whole thing of what he was doing, and I remember it was tense on set. So a lot of the exes were real. They tried to get all the real ones, but I mean they can't force my ex to come on, you know. And she obviously didn't have very good feelings about the show because that's what broke us up was me going to film.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so you get to the season four mansion and stuff like that. Like, what were your thoughts on the house? Like, did you think season four's house was better than season three's, or you prefer season three's house over season four? The
Mm.
mansion.
The house on season four was. Did we have a pool on season four? No, we didn't. We didn't have a pool on season four. I don't think. Did we?
Yeah, we. I had like it
No.
had like a jacuzzi, but that was it.
Wait, where was that? Let me think. Did we have a pool? I think we did
No, I
actually.
don't.
Yeah, no, I think it was across. Yeah, it was. It was a sick pool, but there was like a bridge you had to walk across. So that was nicer than season three. Season three's house was it had a nice backyard. I remember that was great for filming in the backyard. But season three's, what was better about season four is it used to be like a running house. So they had like I don't know. I think somebody told me it was in Hacienda Heights, and it was used to be like a I don't know what it was used for, but basically there was a lot of escape hatches in the house, right? So production could pop in and out of any room, and the production was able to completely operate under the house. And so that allowed for things to be a lot more smooth. They didn't have to have like a tent outside like they did on season three. It was uh season four was like they literally had like little like hatches in some of the rooms. Like you go into the closet and there's like a secret staircase that takes you down that connects to every other room in the house. Um, and so, and I think like the setup for season three's house or season four house was better on the inside. but the pool was too busy on season 4. It was all like a grotto, they had like the grotto and it was just too, and it was a little separated from the house itself. So I think season 4 or season 3 had a better outdoor filming set. It was more flat, clear and easy to film in. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
inside it wasn't the best.
yeah, for sure. Um, Another question I have is, um, I want to say like, oh yeah, when the exes came, that specific episode, it was like, it was that episode was pretty long in my opinion, but
Which one? 4 or 3? I got
uh,
a tattoo on the fourth
it
one.
was
Remember?
like, it was, I think it was deep within the show. Like,
This
it
the
had to be,
four was the
it had to be, remember that challenge where Taylor made Danny look bad because he don't want to get intimate with her in front of his ex? That challenge,
yeah.
you
See,
I think you beat Brandon in
yo,
one of
and
those challenges.
Brandon wasn't Brandon a football player? Wasn't he in? Wasn't he? Didn't he? He was way bigger than me and more muscular. I remember that,
Oh
but I
no,
thought
that
he
was
was
Devin. Devin was the big one, but he
Javin
got
football.
eliminated.
No,
He
but he was
wasn't
still
there.
big too. He was still big too. Brandon was big, man. He was at least 6'5", six
Yeah.
four. He was big,
Remember
and I thought he was gonna beat me.
you did
Everyone
you
thought
did
he
in
was
that
gonna beat
you
me.
didn't let go. You didn't let go of whatever you was
No,
holding.
had to
It was
hold
the
luggage,
person,
and I
right?
had to hold it like this. And thank God, like my shoulders and my in undergrad, all you did, you never work out your legs, you just work out your chest and shoulders and arms, right? And so that was like the best of all the, muscles. That was like my strongest one. And I remember looking over at him while my ex was throwing like Hershey syrup and things all over me.
Yeah,
And I beat him on that. That was great. But I think even production was surprised by that. I think they
yeah,
expected me to lose that,
yeah.
you know?
And then I want to touch on you with the elimination. I forgot what elimination it was, but I remember it was an elimination where you was so close to getting eliminated, but luckily you even said it in your confessional. Thank God I stayed calm because if I didn't stay calm, Camilla would have eliminated me. So there was
Yeah,
like a
there was a
power.
close one.
Yeah,
There was a really, really
and then she
close
was
one. I
like,
forget.
yeah, she was like, Joey, I really respect you because just because I put you here, that doesn't mean that you shitted on me. So I feel like that saved you because I feel like you was probably following your instinct. She was like, you know what, let me just remain calm.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Well, listen, I mean, it's just, even what I do now, it's like, being a lawyer, it's like, you got to stay calm in all the craziest situations. And, being on reality TV, I definitely think helps with being, in court, when you're in you try not to be in a serious situation, but sometimes you don't have the best case in the world. Um, and you got to stay calm because the moment people see you panic, they start not believing anything you have to say. And, when I was in one of those eliminations, I remember that was the close. You know what it was? Is it was like halfway. I hadn't it was like Camille and I were kind of I was kind of like tug of war with Tyrone and Dre and them, and it was like Camille and I had a connection early in the episodes, and it was before I had a connection really with Amy, and so I was kind of like you know you want to have to at least two of the girls actually interested in you, but not kind of like in a pivoting like in a gray area kind of. So it was like right before I had security in terms of like having two girls interested. So it was close, dude. Elimination sucked. Being in the hot seat because one, all your friends are gonna watch it. And it's like, didn't win season 3, come back again, lose. That would suck. Especially because Shane was from FSU and I was at UF. So you have that like school rivalry there. Had to beat him.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so yeah, you know, this is like all over the place, but we get it. But
That's fine.
the going back to the first episode when Javier got eliminated, I feel like you and him did have something in common. Y'all both were like, the Miami, Florida life or
That's
whatever.
funny. That's how
Even though,
they branded me, but I'm not from Miami, dude. I'm from Boca Raton, but I was actually living in Gainesville. So I was like in college. I was at college. I was at school with Tim Tebow. So I was living in a college town in Florida, but I was from South Florida, and my style, I guess you call it Miami, right? Like Miami Vice looking style. But I wasn't actually from Miami. Like Javier and Diablito were actually from Miami. I've never lived in Miami. I lived in Fort Lauderdale, even after school and law school.
yeah. But yeah, what were your first impressions on Javier, and were you surprised when he got eliminated early, or you kind of like,
I knew he was done because listen, they explained how the game works. There's 3 girls. what is it, 13, 14, or 15 guys, a lot of guys. So obviously they eliminate us down to six. So how's that going to happen? Well, obviously the girls are going to vote. Well, there's three girls. So that means if two of them vote to eliminate you, you're done. So what does that mean for you? You can't go, I like, this one.
Yeah.
I'm going all the way with her because the moment you do that, guess what the other two are going to do? Eliminate you. So Javier's problem is he saw Kori and she's the playmate, whatever, and he goes, I want her. Boom, was like that. And then the other two girls were like, you're gone, you
Yeah.
know?
And what's crazy is he would have been saved. I feel like because remember before the elimination, Amy and Danny agreed. Well, no, Amy and Danny agreed to, I won't vote for your guy if you save my guy. And originally it was supposed to be Javier saved and Tyrone sent home, but
Javier, wait,
Javier
we were talking season 3 or 4.
for
Javier.
he
Who's
was
Javier?
supposed to originally be saved because Amy,
Remember.
well, no, Danny made an agreement to Amy that she would save Javier if
Javier. I thought
Amy
Javier was on
wouldn't
season 3.
for because
Let's
he
see.
got a thing for Amy. Yeah, blonde, blue.
Oh,
He has
blonde.
a thing
So
for,
am I confusing Amy and Corey? uh,
but
because what was the
he was supposed to be saved. But the elimination was rough because he went off on Danny because Danny, how Danny was back then, just going off on people. So he retaliated instead of remaining calm, and then Danny was like, I would have saved him if he wouldn't have done that, and it's like
wait a
I wish he
minute.
would have just stayed
No, you're not. No, I'm right. The Javier's season. Oh, you're
season
you're
4.
right. You're right. It's season 3, season 4, and he was eliminated first.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
because
was. Okay, so I got that
lashing out
right.
on Danny. Yeah,
Oh yeah. Now I remember that. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
you're right. He was on season 4. That's fine. Yeah, but he was eliminated first. I remember that.
Like, do you think him getting eliminated first got to him hard? In a way, like it kind of
Well,
like,
I didn't really talk to him after, you know what I mean, to be honest with you. Hey, Magic Pants, remember that guy, the Magic Man? He actually ended up on the X Factor, didn't he? Or he
oh
ended on a
Josh,
magic show?
yeah,
Yeah.
he was doing the love games after hours. He was kind of interviewing you guys. I remember.
Yeah, I
There
remember
was the love games
that.
afterwards,
But he actually
and
was ended up on like America's Got Talent for doing magic or something,
yeah,
didn't
he's
he?
very successful. But I just feel like with love games, he's kind of like he's like upset about his experience because it's like
A
even
lot of
though
people are.
he he was having a sense of humor during the love games after hours. Love games was years ago, and I feel like most of the guys are angry because they didn't benefit
Well,
off of
I
doing the
mean,
show. But
listen, it's like
we get
it's what
it.
I do with expectation management, man. Like you got all these people on TV. The girls are already popular, and they're the ones most likely to make a career out of this. And as a guy who's a contestant, you got to be pretty delusional to think that this is going to be your big break. I mean, think about that. Name one other show, a dating elimination show, where one of the contestants who didn't make it all the way ended up being famous. I mean, that's really hard to do unless you get brought back. And if you do get brought back, it's usually only if you're the one everyone's competing for, like on The Bachelor, that you would get that type of fame. And even then, those guys got to move on.
Yeah. So
Also, if you knew what the pay was, you would know right away. You're not gonna, you know what I mean? You're not
yeah,
gonna get, you know.
yeah. And then some of them actually did sign up for Real World. Like most people that were on BGC or BGC Love Games, they signed up for Real World. So producers redirected them towards Baggers Club. And unfortunately, they didn't know what Baggers Club was before that. But my thing with them is it's like, y'all got to start reading the contracts. But I know that contracts are super long, and a
Oh, I
lot of
read
people don't like reading super long stuff. So I feel like they're just so excited that they
it.
got chosen at that moment, but
Yeah,
it's a distraction to actually sit and read because
yeah.
it's like,
I read it. I read it.
yeah, it's like you getting a new car, but you're not reading the rules and you're just excited, and then it's gonna hurt you in the long run because you're like, oh damn, I should have read it.
Yeah, no. You know, there's a new, I mean, you sign a different contract for Logan. That's what I was saying. If I was stuck, if I was bound by the real world one, I mean, they could technically, I mean, you can't, slavery is illegal, so they can't force you to work, but, they can make you do comeback. Remember the Inferno, all those, where they would bring back the real world people, and you were like, man, that guy's still doing this. It's like a while. I mean, they have the right to bring you back and to block you from making money, using the show. I mean, they can't, and it's funny because I wanted to do originally wanted to be an entertainment lawyer,
Yeah,
you know, and I actually did do that for a minute. So, but they can't force you to go back on those challenges, but you were bound by that contract for like 10 years,
yeah,
unlike Love Games.
yeah. So yeah, we're gonna touch on a few more questions, and then we're gonna end the interview because we've been kind of like an hour stuff, and
Yeah,
this was a fun. By the way, I still appreciate you. But
yeah, no problem.
what season of Love Games did you have a better experience on? Season
Well,
3 or 4?
listen, in terms of making long-term friends that I'm probably gonna stay friends with for life, like Judi, Nick, John. It sucks that I'm not friends with Kori anymore, but door's always open for that. But in terms of that, like those deep connections, I'd say season three, because remember, everyone thought I was working for the opposite, I was working for the guy in the sky. They thought I was like a bot for the production company. So no one really got that close to me besides Taylor. But and Amy, we hung out a bunch, but in terms of that, in terms of like making connections who I'm still friends with, season three, but winning is the best thing in the world. So season four, winning's most fun. So, best experience in terms of winning, making a comeback, and yeah, winning's fun. So there's my answer for that.
But yeah, I wanted to hold up. Right. So yeah, I wanted to touch on when you text me how like you would like for like a Love Games reboot, meaning like a not like a actual show, but like more like a even Casey came up with this idea, and I like this idea because life is short, and we did just lose Nick Freeman, so it's kind of like life. That's me and my Kona's whole point of trying to give you guys your flowers and offering you guys interviews when y'all were on live because
Are you
when y'all are
saying are
gone
you
and that's it.
saying I'm gonna die? Am I gonna die soon now?
I'm
No,
not
I'm
sure
just kidding.
that, but
Is it
what's crazy is
is this my obituary? Is this what this is? Yeah.
no, but my thing is that's why like me and my
No,
Konas
you're
like to
right.
do this interviews with the guys because when when they're gone, at least fans know how their experience was on the show. And
And just take a moment for Nick. I'm sorry. He was a great guy, always a
yeah, he was
stand-up guy, solid. I was shocked when I heard he died.
yeah, me and him were
Um,
close. Like I wasn't even on the show with him, and I was like, you know, and I really love him because he really did a lot for me in my corners. He was like, and it just really sucks, you know what I mean? Because he was one of the guys that didn't take things for granted and just was like with everything, and
yeah,
he knew how, yeah, he
that's
knew how fresh life was. So it's kind of
that's
like
important.
but yeah, um. But I was just saying like I would like repeatedly like repeat myself to the guys like life is short. We would just like to offer you guys an interview. You're not obligated to do an interview, but just a yes and no. But like you already know what I've been through with them. Like
Listen, I'm a lawyer and I've got like hundreds of cases and I'm at work right now. And just for the record, I'm appearing in my personal capacity, so no legal advice is being given here, right? So this is just me personally, Joey, but I'm still at work. I'm in the law firm right now, and I was able to carve out an hour of my time. And yeah, I might have to work till midnight tonight, but I'm gonna be okay. So for me, it's like you gotta stay humble, man. And listen, you know what I would say to most people, and I had a couple people say to me, "What are you doing? Are you trying to be on back on TV? You're doing great as a lawyer, blah, blah, blah." Just do the same hate they did before I went on TV to the first time. What I have to say to that is listen, just because the only person who wants to interview you is maybe the police, your wife, or your mom, don't be sad, right? You got to stay humble. And if somebody wants to interview me, like that's cool. Somebody's interested and wants to ask me questions. Like I'm happy to know that somebody finds me interesting enough to interview. And I'm gracious that you invited me on. You got to stay humble.
yeah, for sure. And me and my co-owners already know that yes, they're not obligated to do anything and stuff. Love games are just go having them have wives, but sometimes I hate how some of their wives could be strict and stuff because it's like they went on a show way before they met y'all, and then also it's kind of like all we be wanting from them is just a yes or no response. Like just be humble enough to just respond. Like you know what I mean?
Don't be a fake robot. It's not hard. You know.
Yeah. Like, with you, I thought you was ignoring us purposely, but then you kind of like let us know that you wasn't active on Instagram and, Instagram keeps getting updated. So it's sometimes it is hard for people to, check DMs because they be left in a message request and stuff. But my thing is, we would comment under the page to check DM and they still ignore us. So it's like, we're telling you check DM. It's easy. You just go to someone's profile, click message
Yeah.
and just hit like, hi, they up. But at this time, I'm not interested. But thanks, like, but
Yeah.
they can't really us. And
Yeah. For me,
even
it was so
somebody,
busy. It's been a busy year. So the reason I don't go on social media or don't post that much is just because it's you're regulated when you're a lawyer. It's like they have character and fitness, you know. So it's like a lot of times posts are like, you got to be careful. I've got a really funny sense of humor, but times change and things that were like, funny then are not now, and you don't want things sitting out there. But also, you're a target when you're a lawyer, and all it takes is somebody to file a complaint and say you're unprofessional and blah blah blah, and then you could, you know what I mean. So it's too risky. So like me, I'm really good with my words. I'm not afraid of making dumb decisions with posts, but posts are like, I don't know. It's just, I think probably comments are more risky, but at the same time, it's just like I don't even want to get into the mix of it. You can't even have an advertisement as a lawyer for your law firm unless you get it approved. So if you can't have an ad without that being approved, what's a Facebook post? What's an Instagram post? An unapproved one? It's too risky, you
Yeah,
know?
for sure. But yeah, like that's why me and my corners like making a group chats for the Love Games guys to reconnect and talking. And what I would find man disrespectful, some of the guys would like leave the chats like, yeah, you're not obligated to be in there, but it's crazy how when someone passes away, now all of a sudden you want to be regretful. But it's like that's what happens when you take things for granted, or you don't try to give us a chance to like get to
Listen,
know
like I
us.
said, listen, if the only people who want to interview you is the police, your mom, and your girlfriend or your wife, like, that sucks for you. I mean, like you got to appreciate, you got to realize, like, listen, somebody wants to talk to you. They're not trying to like trick you. This isn't a gotcha thing because we're not that, it's an old show. But the fact that somebody's still cares or still is interested, I mean, you put yourself out there. You knew you were a TV personality and you loved calling yourself one until you didn't win or until you weren't popular. The fact is, people still want to talk to you. That's cool. I mean, it's interesting. It's a good life experience, and you should be comfortable with words and being asked questions. I mean, you're not asking me anything tough. You're just asking me to be a person and uh, open up. That's it. You
Yeah.
know.
Um, but yeah, this is the last question, and we're gonna end this. So
All
I
right.
remember you touched on me. Well, like you kind of asked me. Well, like the Beauty Marie thing about the reboot, and in case you like the idea, it would be dope if we could like really get some of you guys together for like a cool event, like a Love Games event, like a mini event. Like, of course, not everyone's gonna be able to attend, but it would just
Well,
be
if
dope.
you've got to get an anchor on there. So if like you get like, I don't know, Judy to agree to it, and if Judy's still listening, kind of put her on the spot there. But I think she would if it was the right place and time.
Or like host it,
And
like
then
her and
Well, no, you
Sarah
just
Oliver.
like once it's like like a draft or like I don't know, picking what college you're gonna go to. Like I'm pretty sure LeBron's kid just announced for Arizona, but I'm sure he made that decision based on the other people that have already committed as well. So if you get somebody to commit like Judy, who would be like an anchor for like somebody big like that, and then you could then pick the other people who are not as people will come, right? You know what I mean? So get like I would do it. Just tell me when and where, and
Yeah.
I'm game. You know what I
But yeah,
mean?
in the meantime, we've been wanting to do like virtual lives where we could get the cast members to speak to each other on live, like a virtual reunion, way before like a public reunion, because that's like the at least it's something good. Like in my opinion, like a FaceTime call is just like being in person almost.
There's certain people I'd be impressed if you could get them to come on, but
Yeah,
I could tell you about that, later.
yeah,
But yeah, I appreciate you having me on. I probably got to get back to
yeah, for sure.
work, but I
But yeah,
appreciate it.
this was a very fun interview. And you can I'll upload this interview on YouTube, but I'll have it on my Instagram so you could, copy the link and then send it to Beauty Marie.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll send it around.
All right.
Definitely.
Thank you for your
I
time.
appreciate it. Hey,
All right.
thank you, and thank you,
All right.
everybody.
We'll be in touch.
All right, bye.